just wanted to come here and say prayers for the veterans who passed away and to honor those that are still serving. How long have I been a veteran? Well, I served. I finished service November 2073.
73.
So I had a year in Vietnam and more than I could have won. At Tribox Station and Fugai Camp, and then I had, and then when I was in the Army, working for the Department of Defense, I spent 2 years. So I have about 3 years in combat service.
Yeah.
And Grandma and Grandpa, your
Yes,
parents were
yes.
both also in World War II, both veterans.
My grandfather served in cavalry in World War I.
Wow.
I think he ended up becoming an interpreter. He volunteered and went over, and then my father, his brother, and my mother all served in World War II.
Wow.
So, and then I have a couple cousins.
Yeah, see?
My mother's brother and my brother's two brothers served in Korea. So one served in World War II, and then he got drafted back in and he served in Korea.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
And then
Uncle Ned was in the Air Force.
Yeah, my brother Ned was in the Air Force. What did your grandfather do?
Mom's dad, he was an Army Ranger in World War II.
So, 30-some years old, he was a Ranger, and he started in Africa and ended up in, I think, Germany. Did the 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he stormed the beaches
Because
in
we
Normandy.
started out in Africa in World War II.
Yeah, that's where he started.
Yeah, that's where we got into World War II.
Right. And then I believe he went over to Europe, and then he landed on D-Day.
In Normandy.
And then all the way across.
All the way across. Yeah.
I think he left the end of 46. Because they kept a lot of guys there to get things straightened out and keep the peace.
Yeah.
And he came back, and then I think he got called up for Korea because he was a Ranger.
Yeah.
My name's Don Murrin. I was in the 194th Armored Brigade and also the 25th Infantry Division. I was deployed to Korea. And hoping that there are going to be some more people here today. Yeah, the trip to Korea, that's the major motivator for us to actually retire down to Florida, because I was as cold as I think I could possibly ever be over there. It was the only place I've ever been where if you spit, it was frozen before it hit the ground. So, yeah, Pennsylvania. We'll send you a postcard. We're going to Florida. Happy Veterans Day.
I graduated from St. James in 1965, and 2 weeks later I was in boot camp. Because the draft was going on then, and in my situation I wasn't going to college, so I knew I had service ahead of me, and I knew I wanted to try to learn some sort of a trade. So I enlisted in the Air Force, and I went in, and I picked up computers while I was in there, which helped me get a job when I got out. But I was in the Philippines for a year and a half, and I never got over to Vietnam. But I always support the guys that did go, and those guys were great.
And then when they came home, it was really tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and I always go the extra mile for. I mean, all my high school, a lot of my high school friends, which I usually see here, Jack Holtfeller. I went to high school with Jack, and those guys, the guys that served in the combat zone, are really something to be admired and to be lauded for what they did. After I left that job down there, and then a couple of years later, one of my friends that still worked there was, he was talking about Luther Smith, and he says, "Oh, did you know he was a Tuskegee Airman?" I said, "No." I said, "Oh my God, I wish I did. I would love to talk to him about that." And he was, and his foot was injured when he had to jump out of his plane. It was hit, and his foot got caught, and that's how he mangled his foot up. But you talk about a group of people to be admired. Those guys were really good, and from what I understand, they never lost the plane that they were escorting. They were good. They were good pilots. And it's a
record.
shame because back then, what was going on back then, they never got any of the accolades they should have got. I grew up in the area in media, and I've always admired the way that media has always been so attuned to the veterans and to history. But as far as Veterans Day goes, they always put on a great Veterans Day memorial and remembrance of the veterans, and we should all remember the veterans. And Memorial Day too, we should always remember those who have fallen. And I try to get out every year, and I try not to miss it. And again, here I am this year, and evidently it's online. So for anybody who has never been here on Memorial Day or on Veterans Day, you should come.